Just okay.
Ready? Few concessions made by the affirmative, they dropped the articulation that their root cause claim about root causes replicating systems of thought necessarily takes out the one they see when they say militarism is the root cause for all violence, probably takes out the entirety of the one they see. Now they have also conceded that fiat is illusory, means their extinction claims are suspect and cannot be voted for because they can actually fiat that the plan would resolve anything. Now it's a question of the pedagogy that we generated in this round. They've also conceded the articulation of the criticism is necessarily a new type of exopedagogy, pedagogy that takes the exilic form of education, which means we probably will meet the threshold of their articulation that the alternative has to be relevant to the academic sphere, and the academic space probably means that when we create a new form of education, a new form of engagement with what is considered together, we meet this. Now they have said the role of the ballot is to who best deconstructs militarism, or we meet that role of the ballot. Surely indicates that things like militarism violence is always posited against the monster in the world, when the one they see is always excluding of the monster, always replicating the systems that exclude the monster. They meet their own role of the ballot. Now our role of the ballot is for the judge to be an exilic intellectual. This is to take the perspective of the exile together. This provides a destructive potential of viewing the world outside of normalcy that allows normal pedagogies to be disrupted, that is always opposed against education. And two, it creates an exopedagogy to deconstruct these broader systems. Now they've also conceded the bestiary when we tell you to chart the line. We are also charting your mind when we provide you with the bestiary to deconstruct the systems of what led us to these moments at this time and place now. Now they have not made an actual argument on the criticism. They say that we have no disaster to perm. You said that this is competing methods. It probably means that you don't get a permutation in any way. We have plenty of defense against the perm. You are the exclusion of the monster. If the permutation was to work, the plan would have to come first. That wouldn't necessarily deconstruct. That wouldn't deconstruct the systems first. It would merely replicate those systems and make it more easy for them to become more evil. Make evil become more easy to be invisible. That replicates the systems that they are criticizing. Now extend Baudrillard, the affirmative tries to get rid of all evil and debating outside the system of militarism. The negative does, we embrace the fictional nature of the one you see and the violence that comes along with it, but we don't necessarily believe them. This is all that it is in policy debate. We are supposed to come up with street as stories of why engaging in militarism. So 20 different scenarios of nuclear war, but why? That's debate is fun. We know that politics is a system that is messed up, but the debate is a place where we get to make radical policy proposals and have fun with them. This is the whole point when we get a form to speak evil and not really believe it. Now this is impacted by our Baudrillard 93 evidence. When you try to prohibit speaking of evil or even committing of evil, when you try to make everything too good, evil just becomes back and viral in terroristic forms. At first, to try to remove it only causes the metamorphosis in different forms. This means only the affirmative makes the harms of militarism worse than eggs. Charting of the bestiary is better because it literally charts out how we got to this point and where to go next. Now the affirmative is afraid of a violence of a system of violence in our discourse, and so they try to chase their shadow like a groundhog, but they hide their heads in the alternative. Now the extending Uber cites evidence from the topicality flow. This is a real world example of how they merely replicate evil. The Uber cites evidence is unique, and its writing indicates that targeted killing only falls under when a drone strike is based off of a person whose name is known. This is only targeted killing, and that is the only way targeted killing actually exists. Now they make the evils of targeted killing, the evils of drone strikes, more invisible because there are 3 other forms of drone strikes that actually happen inside of the status quo that they don't solve for. This is making evil more invisible. Now they have not made an actual argument to indict Baudrillard's actual politics. They say Baudrillard will fail because he doesn't operate within the state, but you've conceded the warrants of the Rodriguez evidence. Now you can implicate Rodriguez and said that he has an international focus. That may be true, but it doesn't answer the warrants of the state debate. It indicates that the state is an abstraction, is real when it can never be seen in its totality, but the state only replicates itself when we sit through legal storytelling and replicates the impacts of what we try to solve for. Now that's a warrant that you have not put any ink on. You do not have to do any work for them. Now they say the spillover effect will solve for all kinds of violence. Now that's linked to the criticism. When you try to solve for all kinds of violence, when you try to solve for violence at all, you merely replicate the violence that you're trying to solve for, which makes that violence net worse. You replicate the issues that you are trying to go about solving, which means we have a few disasters, both the permutation and the affirmative, that you can serve as not as terminal disasters. incest that they can never resolve, which means you give on a presumption on one, the Ubercycles evidence indicates that there are 3 forms of drone strike that would still trigger the link, and 2 is reversibility. Assurance indicates that the more we try to fight against violence, the more monsters we create, and even though we do it for security sakes, it only makes us less secure and vulnerable. Now that is a security that's that. Now B's point is that politics and public deliberation and all of these things inside of the status quo are already dead. Sureness indicates that free thought has been taken away from us. The open-ended war on everything led Americans to believe that they are superior. This is an exceptionalism. This that. Now they are nothing but a pedagogical intervention inside of the status quo, trying to preserve the ontological hygiene of the community, of the community. This community being America and the systems that represents, i.e., they try to keep this debate in the world perfect. That denies the fact that their attempts to tame the monstrous merely will fail, and the very existence of politics and debate relies on the existence of the monstrous, because when we cannibalize everything, when we try to solve everything, when we do anything to try to solve everything, what happens when everything disappears? We cannibalize ourselves. It means that the community will inevitably destroy itself in the world where you vote affirmative. Now they have no actual offense on the criticism flow. They've only read shaded shadow line extensions with no actual warrants to hold them to a high threshold. They conceded the articulation that specificity is going to be key in this debate. We have several links to their acts of purification, and we went one link that they try to purify the world of anything. It replicates the system that they're trying to solve for. Means you can only vote negative.